Can I also congratulate her for bringing it forward and for championing an extraordinary campaign that has seen well over 100,000 people across this country sign a petition that is of the utmost importance, one that is trying to make farming work, make farming pay, and make farming fairer. And I commend the Riverford campaign for what they have done, not only to do so much to create the organic market, but also to once again to be speaking up for small farmers across this country. The 5 principles, Madam Chair, of course, have been mentioned already, but it is important to make sure the point is hammered home. Buying what you committed to buy, paying on time, committing for the long term, agreeing on fair specifications, and paying what you agreed to pay. These aren't radical ideas. These aren't concepts that would be out of place in any other sector, yet farmers so often and so frequently find themselves on the wrong side when it comes to supermarkets changing tact. We talk in this place so often about certainty and how we want to create it for businesses small and large across this country. And I ask, where do farmers fit in that? Because we should be striving every day to make sure that the people who fill our bellies and put food on our tables are supported so that they can carry on doing so. Listening to the speeches across this hall already, it seems extraordinary to listen to the Liberal Democrats not at any point mention the legislation that has been passed that might actually facilitate some of the things that they're asking for. We could talk about, for instance, the Procurement Act. I can accept that many colleagues might not be interested in it. It is perhaps one of the most boring pieces of legislation that has ever passed this place. But it is one of the most important because it is designed to shorten supply chains. It is designed to help small businesses, small farmers, access the supply chain and ensure that we can provide food, they can provide food for public organisations. And it then opens up in the debate that I held on this very subject a few weeks ago, of which none of them were present. It then opens up the idea that we could actually use the £4.6 billion that we spend on taxpayers' money to support small farmers from the fruit and veg markets and farms across this country. That is the opportunity that is there. To be constructive in this place is to come up with ideas as to how we can use that legislation to the most effect. And I ask of the Minister, when he stands up to speak, what steps he'll be taking to make sure that that Procurement Act comes forward, that we can also look at how we can change our methods and our methodology. And I agree entirely with what the Honourable Lady from Rutland said about ensuring that the Agriculture Act is used to the most effect, amending the supply code, updating the Groceries Code adjudicator. And I also point this out, that in the Agriculture Act, there is a requirement for the Secretary of State to update the House on food security every few years. What is the purpose of that if we have no farmers who are not producing food? If that 50% threshold, or just under 50% threshold of farmers go out of business, then we should be deeply alarmed, because not only will we see our food security targets reduced, we will find that our whole structure of how we support our farmers, how we reward them, will go down the can. So can we use the Agriculture Act to proper effect while we have time, on a cross-party basis, of which there is clearly agreement, to make sure that we can find ways that you use the Procurement Act, you use the Agriculture Act, you make sure that that food security target is heading in the right direction. I've said many times, Madam Chair, in this place, that we should sometimes just think about being a little more French. We must think about how we structure our farmers' markets. We must think about how we can allow them to diversify. If we ask for fairness in a contractual agreement that can create certainty and opportunity for farmers, where we can ensure that taxpayers' money is spent in the right way, it's supporting those small farmers, while also opening up new avenues for them, there is no telling what we can do, because we can also create a new generation of farmers who will be able to supply us with our needs. The last point I'd like to make is around elms. There's no doubt in my mind, and many of even the Guardian columnists who live in my constituency have commented that the one benefit for Brexit in their eyes is the invention of elms, ending the common agriculture policy and introducing the new environmental land management scheme. There is no doubt there are positive steps, as has already been said by colleagues in this place. But to make it a most effective, the most impactful scheme possible, you must ensure that Elms goes further and looks at how it can ensure that small farmers, who don't always have the ear of Parliament, who don't always have the ability to raise their voices, obviously the Riverford campaign has shown what small farmers can do, But we must make sure that that voice is always in the table in our meetings and to make sure that we can diversify those markets. There's a huge opportunity in front of us. I hope the Minister will listen to us, because not only could there be a cross-working group on this, we could do it in rapid order as well. Thank you, Madam Chair.